Herzlich willkommen alle, benvenuti tutti quanti, bienvenue. Nous allons parler anglais, wir werden Englisch sprechen, parleremo francese evidentemente, inglese pardon. E, I think the first thing I would like to ask you is, how did you get your strange stage name?
In high school, I wrote a song called Butterscotch. We were actually in chemistry class, and we were noting the physical and chemical changes of making ice cream. And the teacher said, you guys can put some butterscotch sauce on top of the ice cream. And so something just went, butterscotch. And then I went home and I told my friends, I was like, I'm going to write a song about butterscotch. And then I went home and I wrote a song in like 10 minutes, and the song made no sense. And the chorus was just butterscotch, 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 butterscotch. And I brought it to school and people loved it and started to call me Butterscotch.
You studied also classical music. I think that's quite interesting because I watched some of your videos on YouTube because I didn't know you. And then I said, what kind of school did you have? And I saw that you have also learned classical music. How do you deal with classical music, jazz, hip hop?
I don't know, I guess it's kind of like food, you know, I love all types of food. I can't just, you know, eat one thing every day, so I like listening to a whole bunch of music, and whatever I hear, I bring that into the music that I play, the music that I write. So, yeah, I love all types of music, and I can't just discriminate against one or just have one that I do.
Yeah, that's just the next question I wanted to ask you, because I saw hip-hop, so I said, okay, JazzAscona is classical jazz, it's New Orleans jazz. How did it come that you came to JazzAscona?
Well, I have a wonderful agent, and yeah, she asked me if I wanted to come out here, and I said yes, of course, and it's beautiful, and I'm very happy to be here. So, great music, great food, great people, and yeah.
So what does it mean that you are going to make us classical jazz?
Wait, so what is it?
On stage?
What kind of music am I going to play?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a combination of jazz and hip-hop, but since I beatbox, I do rhythms while I'm either playing or singing, and yeah, I guess I can do just like a small demonstration of
one of the few artists we can invite here for an interview, and we don't even need an instrument. That doesn't mean that you don't play instruments, because I saw that you play quite a lot of instruments. And how many?
Well, just right now I'll be playing guitar and piano, and then my voice and beatboxing. But I do mess around a little bit with bass guitar, and I used to play saxophone, flute, and I grew up in a very musical family, so So I was the youngest of 5 kids, and they all played different instruments. We had trumpets, cellos, and all sorts of instruments. So I just, whenever I got bored, we didn't really have much TV. My mom wouldn't let us watch TV, so I would just pick up different instruments and play.
Yeah, that's something you have in common with a lot of other artists. They don't watch a lot of TV, and so they have time to make music. What was the music you listened to when you were a small kid?
I listened to a lot of classical music. I fell asleep to a lot of Beethoven.
So your father and your mother were classical?
Yeah, my mother was, or she is a piano teacher, and so we used to go to the symphony, not every Sunday, but a lot of Sundays. And yeah, I remember one time it was some show for Tchaikovsky, and I remember crying because they turned off the lights and they had these green lights and then just loud banging drums, and I just remember crying and holding my mom like I'm scared. Yeah, I was very fortunate that my mom, you know, was able to take us to the symphony. And, I don't think I appreciated it when I was young, but or I think I did, but I didn't know the true value. Yeah.
And it's quite a long journey from Beethoven to hip hop.
Yeah.
So, when was the first time that you discovered this talent you had?
Well, it took a lot of practice. There's this boy that I went to school with who was a really great beatboxer, and I just thought it was amazing. I had heard about beatboxing, but I had never seen it live. And so since, you know, I played different instruments, I kind of wanted to pick it up and just see what I could do and develop my style with it. And at first I didn't take it too seriously, but then once, you know, I got the basics, which is, you know, if you have a drum set, it's just like the bass drum, and then the snare, and then the hi-hat. And then just put it together.
Yesterday you had a musician here of the same age, but she just was interested just in classical jazz, and you are quite, I would say, the opposite. So you have a very wide number of interests. Which are the most important influences to you?
I guess, I mean, classical was probably the first genre of music that I ever heard, but a lot of Motown music, you know, like Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder and the Temptations. My mom was the classical influence. My dad was the, you know, the Motown kind of jazzy. And my grandparents loved jazz, so when I visited them, they would listen to jazz. So, yeah, I mean, I love Earth, Wind and Fire and Billie Holiday, Ella Fitzgerald, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, up to people today, Erykah Badu, Sade. Yeah, so just a lot of people.
Do you sometimes play classical music?
Yeah, I haven't trained in classical music for a while, but I sometimes write my own compositions, and I have one that's a classical beatbox where I play piano and beatbox at the same time.
So you have another talent, not only this vocal talent, not only this multi-instrumental talent, but also you compose yourself your songs. When did you discover this talent?
I guess I've always enjoyed writing. Ever since I was young, I've loved to write stories or make up stories because I like to joke and sometimes lie. But I always tell the truth after, most of the time. So, yeah, I like to write, so I've always, kind of kept a journal, and there's always some part of me that will, every part of my life will show up in my songs. So, if I'm in love at the moment, or if I'm having a difficult day, then I try to, be positive about it and see how I can turn it around. Or I might be negative about it and, just be really mad and write about that. It just, depends on what I'm going through at the time.
You have a little bit, let's say, a modern times career, because young people today, they participate to this talent scouting exhibitions, and you participated to American Got Talent. And I read about that somebody said the best beatboxer ever seen. That was one of the jury who told that. What's the impression it gives you when you receive a compliment like this?
I mean, it meant a lot. I mean, there's a lot of talented beatboxers out there, so I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess I'm different than other ones, so I mean, it's like musicians. I mean, it's hard to say who's the best musician when it's all just music and art. So, but I mean, it's a huge compliment, so I appreciated it.
I would like to ask the people here if they have some questions personally to you.
I do. On internet, on YouTube, you find you beatboxing over classics, jazz classics, Summertime, The Very Thought of You. Did you choose those songs, or was it in the program you were, Americans Got Talent, or?
Yeah.
And why?
Right. Yeah, I did choose them. It was funny because on the show they would always make you try and do different songs, more popular songs, and they even wanted me to do like an Alicia Keys song. Do you guys know? Are you guys familiar with Alicia Keys? Yeah. Okay. For those of you who don't know, she's a very popular singer, songwriter who plays piano, and some of my music is kind of similar, but the only real thing we have in common is that we play piano, we sing. But they wanted me to do a song of hers, and since she's popular, and I didn't want to do it because I'm different than her. So I wanted to do more jazz, and they wanted me to do more contemporary songs. And why I chose them, I don't know. I don't remember the first time I wanted to do Summertime, but it was just a song that spoke to me. And then I actually found out that my grandmother's cousin was the first woman to ever sing that song. Anne Wiggins Brown. She knew George Gershwin. She was in Porgy and Bess, and she was in. She actually moved to Norway. Was living in Norway. I wanted to go visit her, but she just passed away like a year and a half ago. But yeah, so just finding out that I had that song like in my blood, like that just meant a lot to me. So yeah.
Where did you get your name from? Did you choose it?
Butterscotch?
Yes.
Oh, I wrote a song in high school called Butterscotch, and then it just stuck. So yeah.
Did you also learn with Bobby McFerrin?
Yes, he's one of my idols, and we just met him the other day on the Autobahn. It was a crazy coincidence, not a coincidence. I don't know, some power. Yeah, and yeah, I love his music, and he's one of the pioneers of beatboxing, vocal percussion, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Other question?
don't know what beatboxing,
beatboxing, well, it's the art of making beats and rhythms with your mouth.
Oh,
and it started arguably like in the 80s, late 70s, where hip hop was coming up.
Okay.
And there's 5 elements of hip hop. There's breakdancing, there's graffiti, there's rapping, there's beatboxing. What am I forgetting? Oh no. Okay, anyway. I'm gonna get in trouble for not knowing. Anyway, so there's elements of hip hop. So you know, when people were on the street, they couldn't. People would be rapping. You know, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm on the street rapping to the beat, but I don't have a beatbox, so I'm gonna be the top," like whatever, you know. But they didn't have the beat machines that actually, you know, make the. So they couldn't afford that because they were just on the streets. So then they would have to learn how to make, you know, the sound. So then, you know, through the 80s, there was someone like Dougie Fresh, who was amazing. Michael Winslow, if you guys have seen Police Academy movies, he's the one making all the crazy sounds. And then it kind of died out during the 90s, and then like around 2000, it started to become more popular, and then, you know, the internet was getting bigger and bigger, so then you could find out about more beatboxers around the world. And so I started beatboxing around 2004, and so there's a pretty big internet community of beatboxers, and actually pretty big in Germany, and yeah, and over in Europe. It was bigger in Europe than it was in the US, but it started in the US. So, so I actually flew over to Leipzig and participated in the World Championship beatboxing, and I won the women's division, and yeah, then that just opened up a lot of doors and gave me a lot of exposure, and then eventually America's Got Talent, and then just everything else after that.
I must confess that I had to look on the internet what beatboxing was. It's a kind of vocal percussion.
Right.
Yeah.
It is allowed to use loop machines.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, I sometimes use loop machines. I just got a new one, so I'm going to be starting to use that more. I actually have a new video online of me using a loop machine and also playing guitar. So yeah, of course, yeah.
That's the difference about Bobby McFerrin. As he started, he hadn't any loop machine, nothing at all.
Oh yeah.
And now?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, there's some who use it, some who don't. Right now, I use it if I want to use multiple instruments, or you can create a bigger sound with more, you know.
Your own band.
Yeah, yeah. So.
What is a loop machine? Yeah.
A loop machine is a machine that
it's a recorder. As a
yeah,
matter of fact,
yeah.
where you have always the
Put
same.
something in and it's repeating.
For example, the same rhythm in a loop. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Same question.
Yeah.
It was the same question. How does it work? So the loop machine.
As a matter of fact, Bobby McFerrin was maybe the first to really make beatboxing in a certain way. It's not
Right.
exactly what you do, but it's kind of beatboxing.
Right.
An all-general.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And then actually, North Indian music, you know, could be arguably the first to do vocal percussion, because before they learn to play the tablas, they have to. I don't know exactly how they do it, but it sounds something like that. I'm probably not doing it right, but that's kind of what it sounds like. So you know, that's vocal percussion in a sense, and also bebop and you know, people scatting. could be a form of vocal percussion or beatboxing itself. So,
as a matter of fact, there is no kind of music that has not existed before in a certain way. Even for Swiss yodel, I don't know if you know here, yes, yodel. There is an African tribe somewhere in Zaire that uses it 6th century, you know. So
Yeah.
they do yodel, you know. And, yeah, that's something quite strange for a Swiss to think about. So what are your career perspectives now? You are in Europe. I think you are not well known in Europe at the moment. So I hope that you are going to have a big success here in JazzAscona. But are you going to make tours also in Europe?
Yes, after this I'll be stopping in Berlin and doing some recording, and then going to the Montreux Festival, and then going to Batumi, the jazz festival in Georgia, and then coming back, going home for a little bit, and then coming back to Germany and doing some shows with Helg Schneider. Yeah, yeah, we performed at the Elb Jazz Festival, totally unplanned, because he usually performs with Chili Gonzalez and he couldn't make it, so we just made up 50 minutes of craziness.
Yeah,
And yeah, it was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm working on an album which should be done probably by October, November, so that will be available. And that's a combination of my songs, of you know, with some beatboxing and singing and some rapping and playing different instruments. And yeah, just continuing to tour and hopefully, you know, being able to play with a big band, orchestra. I want to compose, write for movies, and just do all that I can do.
Nice.
Other questions? Yep.
Where did you say you live? In New York.
You live in New York?
Oh, no.
No.
I'm from California.
Where?
Yeah.
Where
What?
in California?
Oh, it's near San Francisco. Yeah.
Is that a big beatbox center?
Is beatboxing big there?
Yeah.
There's a small community in San Francisco and a small community in New York as well. And it's spread across the U.S. It's getting bigger, so it's cool. You'll always
Europe is bigger.
Am I big?
In Europe, is it big?
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's you know, it's all kind of underground. So like, I mean, even in the U.S., a lot of people don't know about beatboxing. So there's, you know, there's certain groups of people who know about it, and it's pretty big online as well.
So I suppose that after America's Got Talent, you are better known in the US.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have some?
No, I didn't have a question.
Okay. Other?
Have you ever tried to include the audience with your presentation?
Yeah, I sometimes give workshops. So do you guys want to learn how to beatbox?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess if we want to start with just the basics, just making a bass drum, and it takes a while. So don't worry if it's not as strong because you build up the lip muscle. But if you just say like ba, 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 yeah. And then if you take away the then just good, yeah. Yes.
You have half an notice here.
Exactly, yeah. And then for the snare, you can do like a k sound, k, 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 k. Yeah, and then if you take away the then k. There's also the inward k, which is So you're breathing in like you're like surprised, like, but then you go so. And with that makes the inward snare makes it easy to do fast beats because you're because people ask me, well, how do you breathe when you're beatboxing? So I breathe out with a and then in with a so. So you can go fast.
But there was a melody as well.
Oh.
Was it, did you do it?
Yes. Yeah.
Is it a secret?
Oh, no, I mean, a lot of beatboxers can do it. It's a little difficult to get at first, but once you get it, I should talk on the microphone. But once you get it, then it's pretty easy. But it's it's like you're humming, and then you push the air through your lips like. And then the hardest thing about that is to get the snare. You just have to make your lips tighter, so it's like a. Yeah, and then one of the other snares is like if you watch like kung fu movies or whatever, it's like the punch like. So then, do you guys want to try that? Just like. Yeah, and it helps to do. I always tell people to do the punching motion because it helps. Yes, yeah. And then the hi-hat is just.
Yeah.
Yeah. So once you get those, and I always tell people just to practice them, individually, and then once you get the, and then then you just put it all together, and yeah, and then you can start adding other sounds. And, I like to do a certain type of a bass, since I can't sing that low since I'm a woman. I do a bass, so it's like a. Or I do like a My Funny Valentine sometime. Gotta get warmed up.
My funny Valentine, sweet funny Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Da-da-da-da-da. Your looks are laughable. Unfold up, grabbable. Yes, you're my favorite work of art. Miss your figure, less than Greek. Miss your mouth, a little weak. When you're out, but then to speak. Are you smiling? Don't change your hair for me. Not if you give me state funny Valentine.
bananas, actually, if that helps.
How much?
How much? Usually just one bite. Actually, well, before a show, probably like a banana. Actually, shh, I can't tell my secrets. Actually, no, but everyone already knows that, so. But yeah, I eat bananas. Yes.
Is it very tiring for your?
You know, if I haven't done it for a while, then if I go do a show and I get really excited, then it is a little, it does kind of take a toll on my throat. So I have to be careful sometimes of how many shows I do in a row. Yeah, kind of.
I think a musician is always a hard job. Yeah. You need a lot of exercise,
Right.
and if it's for the voice, it's even heavier than just an instrument.
Yeah.
So I think it's quite interesting for us here in JazzAscona to have you here, because it's this community is a community of more traditional jazz, and I think it's wonderful to see how old standards from the Great American Songbook can be interpreted in a quite different way, a quite up-to-date way, and I think I wish you a lot of success, not only here in JazzAscona, but also in the next tours you are going to make, especially in Europe. And I suppose that we are going all to hear from you again. So you said your new CD will come out when?
Oh, I don't have an official release date, but probably in October or November.
October, November.
Yes.
So that's one I'll buy.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Oh, and if you guys are on Facebook by any chance, or my website is www.butterscotchmusic.com.
And you're on YouTube.
And on
Yes.
YouTube you
Yes.
find quite a lot.
YouTube.com/butterscotchmusic.
And Facebook?
Facebook, yes. Facebook.com/butterscotchmusic.
Okay. Is there something you would like to hear?
Eat bananas. It's your chance. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me here. Thank you for having me here and dropping glasses on grounds. And yes, thank you. That's all I can say pretty much. Oh, and I'll be performing on Saturday. Saturday, I'll be performing. I think it's in the booklet. I should remember, but I'm bad at.
This Saturday.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And then I'll also be performing, joining other people on stage as well.
Yeah,
So
main stage.
yeah.
At 11, half past 11.
Okay.
night time.
Yeah, main stage 11, half past
11.
half past 11. Thank you. She's wonderful. What's your name?
Verena.
Lorena.
Verena, yeah.
Okay.
I saw you yesterday.
Oh, okay, great. Cool. Well, thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.